Hi, I'm Gary Martin. I'm the founder of Rivertrack. So I was selected as part of CivTech to do the challenge for SEPA for providing flood warning information to wider communities. So I first heard about CivTech at one of the tech meetups in Edinburgh. I assumed it wasn't for me when I heard the first one. So I was a sole trader, and so I wasn't sure that unless I had a large team behind me, that would be something I would, even be considered for. I was at an event. I heard the presentation from CivTech again, and at that point I started thinking seriously that perhaps this was something that I could pitch for. I didn't really have a concrete vision of which challenge I would go for. So there were 2 or 3 challenges I was looking at, and I was working particularly with at the time on a project measuring air quality using a radio link to transmit air quality. That turned out not to be applicable to one of the challenges, although there was an air quality challenge, and I converted that to a water monitoring process. And basically it was a change of sensor, a bit of a change of design, but it fitted in with the project that I was already working on. So once I'd realized that I could do that, it just made complete sense the second time I saw the presentation to go for it. If one of those challenges sort of hits you, then go for it. You need to be committed for that sort of 6-month period, where you're going to drive this thing forward. But absolutely go for it. Just make that call. I was pleasantly surprised that you actually get paid for doing that exploration phase. That's not something you would normally do. As a freelancer, you usually have to do work up front. And if the client doesn't want it, then you've just spent all that time working on something that you're not going to get paid for. Potentially hand your client lots of ideas to run away with. The time goes really quickly once it arrives. You do end up generating way more information than you actually need, and that you need to sort of cut that down to be a nice, clear, succinct presentation at the end of it. What was really helpful is CivTech did actually provide quite a clear set of bullet points for the kinds of things that were expected in the final presentation, and that was really useful to be able to fold in all of the research you'd done into these points so that you could actually present something within the allocated time. From the challenge sponsor point of view, so mine was SEPA, they actually freed up a member of staff once a week to come and work on site. The whole team from SEPA, really approachable, very open, providing information and feedback, and helped with the whole pilot phase. So the initial pilots we were doing was actually with staff members who were near rivers that we could actually monitor for the initial setup. Couldn't really have asked for a better challenge sponsor. So the accelerator phase, it goes really quickly, really quickly. 100 days as a sole trader. When I started this, I was committed to go to all of the workshops. Definitely the business side for me is where I'm weakest. And that's where CivTech provides the most information. It's the kinds of information you need to focus on to make the business happen. Surprisingly, the product itself is fairly close to the original pitch. There's a few aspects of it which took more time than I assumed would take. I actually spent a lot less time on the software, a lot more time on things like the physical mounting of the product. That actually takes a lot more work than you initially realize. And so although I had early prototypes, which we used, trying to make it so it's something that's easy that people can actually deploy, actually just take a lot of effort. And I was also very surprised about software. I thought was going to be the largest slice of time, and it's actually things like electronics testing, battery life testing is a big one. But yes, I assumed software was going to be the biggie, and it didn't turn out to be the main stumbling block. There's many other things that you need to consider in a product. So in one of the test sites, we did actually have a flood that submerged the sensor. The intention was not to submerge the sensors. I do submersion tests on the devices, so they are capable of surviving underwater. But at the early pilot stage, I wasn't expecting to actually have that test happen. And we had a heavy snowmelt plus heavy rain, and the river went up from 50 centimeters to a bit over 3 meters. And the sensors were about 2.5 meters off the original water level. So they were submerged for half a day, and obviously the radio signals disappear when they go underwater, but when the water submerged, back came the radio signal. So it happily survived. Demo day, wow. Demo day was very stressful for me. I might come across as quite chatty, but I am an introvert. So the thought of standing up in front of a room full of 200 plus people who, who are really interested, but, know the ins and outs of this whole thing, that was nerve-wracking. We had lots of practice sessions, lots of rehearsals, lots of coaching to get us through that. That made a huge difference. It's just practice, practice, practice. Definitely some follow-ups. The groups that provide business networking in Scotland for IT-related, technology-related businesses. So that's been useful. So Rivertrack, where are we now? Currently rolling into a larger set of pilot sites. So we have two larger community groups where we'll have multiple homes that will be linked to sensors. We'll be collecting data and doing a full written report of how it helped the community, what engagement we got, what benefits they saw, what improvements that they would like to see. So hopefully at the end of this year we'll have a solid set of write-ups. This is a commercial contract. So this is Scottish Flood Forum are paying for me to do these pilots. And obviously working with SEPA as well from the research side. So I'm hoping at the end of this year we'll have a nice, we have ongoing business and we'll have a nice robust set of documentation showing hopefully how we succeeded, but also hopefully showing any rough edges that we need to smooth off during this time. During the CivTech process, there's been plenty of opportunities to do exhibitions and conferences. So things I wouldn't usually have been invited to. You get to network with a whole different group of people and other businesses. So great set of contacts there. There's been lots of these little connections, which as a initially sole trader, now as a founder of a company, these connections make all the difference because you're never quite sure who you're going to meet and who you need to meet to make that next thing happen. And so that's been really useful.